The famed investor Jim Rogers, chairman of Roger Holdings, joins us on the program this morning. Jim, it's been a while. How are you?
I'm fine, Susan, and you?
I'm okay, Jim. I'm okay. Kind of busy times, especially with the news flow they're getting from the European side. What do you think about how markets are trading? Despite the fact that we have Moody's rating a downgrade still in sovereign credit ratings on the European side, we had this massive rally around the world.
Well, Susan, I wouldn't pay too much attention to Moody's and S&P as far as ratings are concerned. I hope you've learned that in the past 10 or 15 years. I don't pay too much attention. Well, the markets have been down for, what, 2 or 3 weeks in a row? That was a little bit of news, which could be construed as good news, and so we're having a rally. I don't pay too much attention to it myself.
Okay, what about Fitch, though? You know, getting, I guess, reversing their outlook from stable to negative on the U.S. We had S&P, of course, downgrading and stripping the AAA credit rating from the U.S. earlier on this year. Any concerns about the U.S. economy?
Well, Susan, the idea that the U.S. is AAA is a little bit ludicrous, if you ask me. The U.S. is the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, and the debts are rising by staggering rates. The U.S. is not AAA. That is absurd. So anybody who still thinks that should do some homework and find out more. I'm worried about the U.S. economy.
Yeah, Jim, I was going to say, if you're going to, I guess, criticize the U.S. for being AAA rated, what about the likes of France and other economies across Europe?
Oh, well, Susan, you asked me about the U.S. Sure, there are lots of people that should be downgraded. It's insane what's going on. Certainly France is not a AAA credit. I wonder if even if Germany's a AAA credit anymore. If anybody is, Germany probably still is, but no, there are many people who should be downgraded. As I said, why do you pay any attention to Moody's and S&P? They've proved repeatedly that they've gotten things wrong, but they're still saying France is AAA. I mean, this is all absurd.
All right, Jim. All right. Okay, so let's talk about how this European sovereign debt crisis is going to unfold, because we had Angela Merkel. You know, she's still, I guess, hesitant to use the ECB as the lender of last resort. She doesn't want euro area bonds, but guess what? She wants these treaty changes so she can oversee more of these more highly indebted nations, smaller nations in the EU.
Susan, all of these things are just temporary respites so that the markets can rally, people can think things are better. But until somebody does something about the basic problem, which is too much spending and too much debt, the situation gets worse and worse. You look at all the projections for all the countries in Europe, none of them show declining debt over the next 2 or 3 years. They all, even Greece, which just claims to be an austerity plan, it shows its debt is going to be higher next year and higher the year after that and higher the year after that. That's not going to solve the problem. It may make the markets rally for a day or a week or a year even. It's not solving the problem. It's making the problem worse.
Well, what do you think? Are we going to see implosion? Is the euro still going to be intact, say, in 5 years' time?
Well, I'm not sure it'll be around in 10 years' time. I imagine it might make it 5 years, as I'm sure it'll make it next year. I hope so. I own some euros, Susan, so I hope it makes at least another 5 days or 5 weeks or 5 months. 5 years is a stretch. It will probably disappear someday. Unfortunately, we need something to replace, to compete with the U.S. dollar. The euro on paper would be fantastic, but unfortunately, it's a political currency, and nobody will pay attention to economics.
Well, the euro's still holding up pretty well. We're looking at the 132 levels. I mean, if it was actually cratering, some would say that we see parity, if not worse, for the euro dollar. Okay, so talk to me about the markets. You're still shorting stocks, right? Where are you shorting them?
Well, I'm short European stocks, I'm short American technology stocks, I'm short emerging market stocks, and I'm long commodities and I'm long currencies. If the world economy gets better, I will make money in commodities because of the shortages. If the world economy does not get better, you better own commodities, because then they're going to print money, Susan. That's all they know to do. It's the wrong thing to do, but when they print money, you should own real assets.
Okay, well, they are printing money. I mean, there's talk, and I believe bond markets are pricing in the next round of QE3, quantitative easing, in the U.S. Now, I'm not going to bring up the YouTube video, but you have told me in the past that you think Ben Bernanke, the Fed chairman, possibly should quit. Maybe he's an idiot. What do you think about his plans?
Well, I know that Mr. Bernanke doesn't know much about economics or finance or anything else. So I think we would all be better off without a Federal Reserve. In this case, it's making terrible mistakes. A world without central banks has problems, but the world with this central bank has worse problems. So they're already doing QE3, Susan. If you get out the money supply figures from the beginning of August when Mr. Bernanke said he's going to keep interest rates low, you will see that the M2 unadjusted jumped up, huge. They're in the market. They're lying about it, Susan, but they're in the market. They're buying something, because you cannot jump the money supply up like that without buying something. So they're there. They're just misleading us about it.
Okay, so let me ask you why you're shorting American technology companies, because have you seen the Thanksgiving sales numbers? People are buying PCs, they're buying tablets, they're buying lots of gadgets.
Oh, I saw those numbers, and maybe I'm certainly wrong yesterday, that's for sure. We'll see how the numbers come out over the course of the whole holiday season. I'm not sure one day should determine my my investment approach.
Right, okay. Any specific names you want to talk about, though?
No, I'm short of a package of investment stocks. I am short Microsoft calls, but I'm short a package of the technology stocks in the U.S. It's mainly, we're not back to 1999 when we had a huge bubble. It's just I was looking for something to hedge myself. Technology over the last year or two has been the most exploited, and so when I started shorting again, American technology was one of the things that had been very exploited, and so I sold there.